Right then, welcome back. And today we're going to do the setup for the road version of the 2007 or K7 GSX-R1000 Suzuki that we epically failed to win the endurance race on the other day. Now, truth be told, I've never really been a big fan of Suzukis. I've got a soft spot for TL1000s because they're a bit rude, but apart from that, honestly, they don't really do much for me. But anyway, first up, UMC Outer. Why? It's got a big long straight and we're a 1000cc bike. No more reasons are needed. And I also wanted to put quite a lot of load through the tyres and see how the bike moved about. And UMC Outer is very good for that. High ambient temperatures, fast corner speeds, and some decent braking zones. Now, the AI, well, the AI were just about putting up enough of a fight to make it interesting. And we did get to the front, and we did have a good race, and I won't go as mad with the replays this time, I promise. And we did a 144.3, which would have put us 55th on the leaderboards. And that's running a hard medium. Now, the bike was a little bit loose at the back end as I was getting on the gas. The age-old problem of it not staying in line. So we made a little bit of a tweak to the spring hardness, and we went to Road Atlanta GP. The motorcycle circuit can rot in hell. It is absolutely awful. And this place is bumpy, mega bumpy. So, after the fast... Sorry mate, my apologies. After the fast high-speed UMC, this was a completely different test for the bike, and I went a bit short on the gearing. I should have gone a bit longer. The brakes work though, the brakes work really well, bit of a love tap, but we're all good. But it's the bumps, not the ones you get for your birthday, the ones on the track that upset the bike, and it just about takes them. Now, the bike itself, you know what, I like it, I really like it. It's one of the most usable 1000cc bikes on the game. 119.1, which would have put us 39th, again on a hard medium tyre. It's a bit cold, the front tyre, so probably think about going to a medium just to see if she can take it. And we did that at Snetterton on the 200 course. Now, the 100's awful, the 300 won't go into my brain, and the 200, this corner, so the hairpin and then into this left-hander, could I get that right? No, I could not. It was absolutely horrendous. And we ended up finishing in the lowly 4th, but it's not about the racing, it's more about the times and the setups. And we did a 106.3, which is 23rd on a medium front, medium back, and I do go back and have a go on that on the leaderboards just to set a time and see where we get, because I thought there was a little bit more time in it. Don't think I did the bike justice. And in all honesty, I was struggling a bit. The bike was okay, the tyres weren't doing great. I thought I'd go to a favourite track of mine, Magny-Cours. It's fast straights, fast corners, big braking zones, loads of traction zones as well. I thought if I can get the bike working here, get the tyres turned on, do a decent lap time, I can pretty much say I'm happy with the setup. The leaderboard is ultra competitive. We did a 136.4, which would have put us down in 147th. And the bike was still moving about. I went back to a hard front and it didn't really work. And then I thought, well, I need to go somewhere else. The bike's not really working. I need to go to tracks to put load through it. And it was just a bit fiddly to set up, and the tyres weren't really getting any heat in them. I was happy how it was reacting. It was just managing the heat in the tyres. So I went to the island of Phillip in good old Australasia, and we had a bit of a ding-dong. The AI were, well, quite robust. Obviously, the gentleman or lady on the 2017 GSX-R wasn't very happy. Then we had a massive fight with a Panigale over the top of Lukey Heights and all the way round the right, and then the loads of lefts onto the back straight, and then the poor old Kawasaki got double teamed, and look how fast that Panigale is. And it just ended up being a really good race. The bumps were upsetting the AI riders a little bit more than me, but it felt like we'd finally got the bike set up. I could put it where I pretty much wanted on track. It would hold a line, and look at the tyres. Yes, finally some colour. However, the leaderboard's 128.7, and that is all because of the pace down the straight. It's a 15-year-old litre bike now, so it's not pumping out the most power in the world. And by now, I was like, well, I think I've done enough races on this. So I did my obligatory Kanto South wet, let's slide it about and see what it does to a set of wet tyres. And you know what? It was actually alright. Again, the AI were pretty robust. I was having a bit of fun. I wasn't really too worried about winning or this, that and the other. I was just mucking about trying to slide it as much as I could. And I mean, it does slide, by the way. It's very, very, very useful. It's been power slided? No, power slid. I don't know, something. Through the corners. You can see the rear tyres getting very warm, and we did a 139.6, which put a 30th. So I went back, we put slicks on, dry track, middle of the day, 29 degrees, loads of tyre temperature, and we got down to a 133.9, and I thought, I think there's probably a little bit more in it, and the front tyre's a little bit cold, so I could probably take a little bit of front spring out and put a bit more heat in that front tyre. Probably. However, the bike handles really well. It's still a bit loose at the back under power. You can see it moving about. I'm quite happy with that. The traction's on 0. I don't mind it moving about. I'm quite happy to let it slide about and deal with it as and when I need to. Some people don't. If you don't, just stick the traction on 1 and it'll control it for you. It's not too bad. But yeah, we went back, we had a bit of fun. Very accurate bike as well. You can tip it in, trail brake as well. You don't have to worry about the front running wide if you carry the brakes into the apex of the corner. It's just nice. It ended up being a really, really, really nice bike. And we set a 133.8, which would have put us 7th on the leaderboard on the hard medium. And I was quite happy with that for a bike that is not the highest when it comes to PI and ratings and everything else. I mean, we did a 133.4 on the 2020 Fireblade, which is a very high PI rating, and we did a 133.8, so it's only 0.4 of a second, so that's quite good. And last but not least, we went back to Snetterton on the 200, and I could not, for the life of me, get this hairpin right. Excuse me. I just could not get it right. I did 9-10 laps of the place. Just couldn't get the braking point. The bike was saving me more than I was saving myself, to be fair. And we ended up doing, what did we do? A 105.6, which wasn't a massive increase from when we went 106.3 to a 105.6. What's that? 0.7 of a second. I thought there was more in it than that, hence why I went back and had to go on the leaderboards, and that would have put us in 13th. But it's a 902, so it's only halfway up the scale, the rating, so it's just, I guess it's one of them bikes that I probably need to spend about 40-50 laps before I could say I'd extracted its maximum. And there we are, there's the setup. Bit Honda-ish with its preload and its spring hardness. The final ratio for the gearing was on 6. I mean, that's after I'd altered it because it was way too short at Road Atlanta, but it's actually a really, really usable bike. Anti-wheelie was on 2, engine braking was on 2, and the traction was on 0. Pros, it's just about fast enough to keep up. Everything's on 120% AI and everything else. So it's quick enough. It's not going to be setting top 10 leaderboard times unless you're an absolute monster on the game. It's a good novice 1000cc bike. You can set it up, it'll go, it stops, it turns, it'll do everything else. And twin exhausts are just the best. Other opinions are available, however, twin exhausts are the best. Cons, it's basically a K5, K6 in a frock, isn't it? They did the K1, K2, and then they did another update for the K3 or 4, and then they did one at K5, then the K7, and then they left it alone basically until the new one came out. They just kept tweaking it and adding weight and making it more aerodynamic. More importantly, it's not a TL1000S, which is obviously the ultimate man's motorcycle apparently. And worst of all, I can actually hear it rusting after the race in Kanto. Suzuki's aren't renowned for being the best and most robust when it comes to build quality, but I'm only joking because I couldn't actually think of any cons other than I'm going to slag it off because I'm a bit of a cock. But hey ho, there we go. But yeah, that's it. Have a go, let me know what you think. I'll put a couple of replays out. It'll probably end up being more than that because I can't help myself and I get a bit carried away, but that's just how I am. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave me a like, a comment and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, because we're going to do everything. And the weekly challenges have finished. I noticed that the other day. I haven't been doing them because I've not really fancied them, to be fair. Yeah, the weekly challenges have finished, so that means one of two things. The game's not selling any copies, they're not making any more money, or there's a new one coming. I like to be glass half full, so let's pretend there's a new one coming, and there you go. But yeah, thanks for watching. Fingers crossed. I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, peace.